Hello.
All right, I would like to call to session the 17th session of the Pontiac Charter Revision Commission. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Burrows, Garrett,
Present.
Killian,
Present.
Payne, Ramsey,
Present.
Stewart, Turpin, Williams,
Present.
Ibarra. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to excuse Commissioners Burrows and Turpin? Commissioner Ibarra should be joining us shortly.
Moved.
Stewart,
And Stewart, thank you.
Second.
So it's been moved by Williams and seconded by Gilbert to,
Ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Garrett?
Garrett. I'm sorry, Gil. Okay, I'm sorry. That's only the second time I did that. I'm apologizing. Garrett. Sorry. I just said I'm flustered from having to turn back around. Okay, to excuse Stewart, Burrows, and Turpin. Roll call.
Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Did I forget somebody? 5 yeas, no nays.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Moved. Second.
It's been moved by Williams and supported by Killian.
Can I withdraw my motion? I would like to amend the agenda to go with the discussion first before we talk about the training. So move item number 8 ahead of item number 7.
Okay, so make 8 the new 7.
No, I don't even think we need 8. So I'm sorry, make 9 the new 7.
9 the new 7.
I need a support.
You say not, so
So move reviewing of the 2013 charter to above the discussion on the training dates? Is that what you're requesting?
no,
Yes.
okay, support.
Okay.
Well, I
So
thought you
it's
said-
been moved by Williams and supported by Garrett to move number 9, reviewing of the 2013 charter, to replace that and make it number 7. Roll call.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Garrett.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
So now I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Moved.
Support.
Moved by Williams, supported by Killian. Roll call.
Payne, Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
I need a motion to approve the minutes of our September 14th meeting.
Moved.
Support.
Moved by Garrett, supported by Williams. Roll call, please.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne. 5 yeas, no nays.
Public comment.
None.
No public comment. All right, we are at reviewing of the 2013 charter, and I will hand it over to Commissioner Williams.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Chair. At last month's meeting, last meeting, we discussed that we were all in agreement with continuing a strong mayor form of government as the majority. And I made the recommendation that we would adopt the 2013 charter as a guideline as we go through, because we only have a little under 2 months left to complete a charter. And most of the technical work was done by the last charter commission, but go through page by page and article by article for changes that we would see fit going forward. So I guess my first thing is to make a motion that we would adopt the 2013 updated charter as the general framework for this body.
Second.
So there's a motion on the floor to adopt the 2013 charter as the basis for the charter that we would be revising. I have a move in support.
Any discussion?
So now we can have discussion. Garrett.
Okay. So just for clarity, the provisions to change that was handed out right before the meeting, that was something that's kind of to say that what was changed in the 2013 charter?
No,
Is that what this was?
those are Scott's recommendations based on what we talked about last time. So everybody who was coming to the meeting today should have looked at their 2013 charter
Okay,
and
I looked at
decided
that.
what they want to change or whatever. So nothing in the 2013 charter are we bound to, but if we have an agreement that we're going to use this as a framework, it makes it easier for us to go forward versus
Okay.
trying to go back to the 82.
So this is just, okay, good.
So
It
those
was
are
Commissioner
stewards.
Scott. Okay, I just thought it was something
No,
that
those
was
are
already
stewards.
discussed.
Those
Okay.
are stewards'
All
recommendations.
right.
But attached to our agenda is the 2013 revised
Yes,
charter.
I mean, I saw that,
Okay.
and I had a copy of it already, and I support that recommendation because of the timeline, and they did do a lot of heavy lifting that I don't think that we'll
Have to deal with.
have to deal with. I'm sorry, but thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Madam
you.
Chair. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yeah, one other discussion. You're saying, was this just Scott's revisions or from the meetings? Because I haven't had a chance to read on this. That's why I want to be clear.
So this is Scott's revisions because he would not be here to make input on tonight's discussion. So nobody has marked up the 2013 charter at all. So this is just his recommendations. As if he was here, he would say, these are the things that I want to look at.
Okay.
So,
That's-
yeah.
So that's not, I was just making sure it wasn't pertaining to the discussion we had last meeting, as far as some of the changes we were making as a group. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Man, that's a great idea. Because all I would need is this document right here.
All right, so it has been supported by
Killian.
Killian. Roll call.
Williams,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Ramsey.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
All right, Madam Chair, can I proceed?
Please do.
Okay, so turn to the first page of the charter, which is the preamble. I think it's self-explanatory, but if you want to look over the provisions, if there's anything that should be changed in section 1.101 all the way down to 1.104. Is everybody on that page? Do you have it, Ms. Payne? Yes. Okay. Does anybody see any objections to Article 1?
None here.
Okay, can we vote on keeping Article 1 intact?
Motion.
Yes, I make a motion that we keep Article 1, sections 1.101 to sections 1.104 intact as is.
Support.
One.
Williams,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Ramsey.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
All right, we're in section 2, which is election section, And my recommendation, based on the discussion that we had, would be for Article 2.104 to read as follows. The elective officers of the city are, the city and, it should say and, mayor are the 7 council members of the city council. And then where there says 5, I would amend that to say 6. Council members shall be elected by district, and then 1 at-large council member elected citywide. Is that consistent with what we've come up with as a group?
You said 2.101.
01. So where it's
The first
bold,
one.
where it's bold there?
Yeah, you said 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2.101. Please correct me when, yeah, so.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So is everybody good with
So you
changing
said
the number
6.
from
The
5 to 6?
The elective officers of the city are the mayor and the 7 members of the city council. 6 council members shall be elected by district, and 1 at-large member will be elected citywide. That's what we're looking to approve. Garrett, did you have your hand up?
I didn't. I just, I know the discussion took place last week and I watched the video, but just in clarity, that was just an at-large member. That wasn't saying that the president was at-large or this person was at-large. It was just 1. That's how I understood it when I watched the.
And
So
this is how
the
this reads,
recap.
but go ahead, Will.
Yeah, so what the consensus that the group came up with last week, it was a vote that the council body would select who the president was.
Okay.
So in order to
what I
put
saw,
this in the
okay.
charter, we would have to just have the at-large seat, just an at-large seat.
Okay.
I make that motion.
Support.
So there's a motion by Williams, supported by Garrett, to change 2.101 as just read by myself. Can we get roll call, please?
Williams,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Ramsey.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
Okay. Section 2.103, does anybody have a problem with that?
2.102.
2.102, you skipped over 2.
It's scratched out over here. Yep, 2.102. Does anybody have a problem with that language that they had in
No.
2013? Okay.
Yeah, I just have more clarification, because I was interested in, and I just wanted to make sure that I was on the same page. Is with this clause now, striking this moves both where we don't have a scattered election.
Right.
Okay.
This would move the city elections to the same as the
That's the
gubernatorial.
state.
Yep, so same as statewide elections. So instead of just having, and I think the discussion they had about it was to make sure that it increased turnout and had a better thing. So, does anybody have any objections to that? No. Okay. The next objection that I had was at 2.105, the election commission.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I mean,
All three.
can we just hit and just get
yeah.
okay from each
yeah.
one of those?
Okay, yes. Okay, so is there a okay to voters, the electors of the city?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we just say, does anybody have any problems with
Okay.
2.103?
No.
2.104? Okay, 2.105.
Okay, this is where I had a problem. And I wanted to expand the election commission. So it would read, 1, city clerk, 2, city attorney, 3, city treasurer, and 4, 2 members appointed by the previous city council.
2 members?
Yeah, to make it 5, you got to have an odd number in order to make sure
I'm
votes
just
come
making
out right.
sure. Yeah.
Discussion. Oh, why by the previous council?
Well, because I don't know when if everybody's up for election, then they have to be established somewhere else. These other people have jobs in the city, so they're going to be there regardless of who the administration is. So what I'm saying is, before election, there needs to be two residents appointed by the city council, and there may not be. By time, so if there's election and, well, I guess it could be just appointed by the city council and not previous. So maybe strike the language of previous.
I was just wondering why, and yeah. So can we flush out this scenario? So let's say this is adopted, and so this would be adopted next year, which is 2024. So once this is adopted, that the current city council would then appoint 2 members
Yes,
for the 2025 elections.
right.
Is your concern that they would put people they friends?
No, I don't have any concern about it. I was
Okay.
just trying to figure out who, because it's not council members, just trying to figure out what language we needed to use in
Okay.
order for residents to be appointed to do that. Because last election, we had a problem because the city attorney was part of a firm and not a resident of the city of Pontiac, and they had a stalemate because those people were in fear of losing their job or whatever. So just trying to make it a fair process so the elections can move forward.
Thank you, Garrett.
So the city attorney is still by a firm.
We haven't got to those sections
We
yet.
do have an in-house city attorney,
That's hired by the city or a firm?
the city.
Who is it?
I don't know.
I thought he was hired by a firm. I thought he
No,
was
it's a
part of.
lady. It's a Caucasian lady. Yeah, who is
What?
now the city attorney, right?
When did that happen?
No?
I don't know. All I know is the Clark Hill.
Clark Hill guy.
Yeah.
I thought it was
I
just
mean,
the
sorry,
firm.
sir, I don't know your last name.
Yeah, no, there's, let me ask somebody, because
So
there,
this is why I'm asking, because it says election commission, and it has 3, and now we're going to 5. But it says city attorney, but we still don't have a person who's hired as a city attorney. We have a person they have a firm that has somebody who represents the city as the city attorney, but it's still a firm. So the firm can have the same fear as the same as the other person.
Right,
So,
and that's why I was seeking to have the balance with the 2 members.
no, I'm with having the balance,
The
yeah.
two- the 2 residents. What I'm saying is, if we change it from a firm to an actual, has to be a person, I don't know about that yet. What I'm saying is, the section, they changed it in 2013, because it used to be the city assessor. We no longer have a city assessor, so they
Correct.
changed it to the treasurer. What I'm saying is, we may get to the attorney part of the charter and decide to change how that's representative or whatever. What I'm saying is, even if it's a firm or a person, having 2 extra bodies that cannot be fired would be helpful in getting the election passed.
And so what I'm saying is, why do I need to have, can I have language in the election commission as you may consult with the firm if you have any electoral questions, but then replace that with with 3 city people instead of saying city attorney? Because you're saying that, you understand what I'm saying? Like, because you're saying, are you saying because we might have a city attorney and, right now we have a firm. So I'm just saying, my thought process to eliminate that is, I'd rather go with 3 people, 3 residents, the city clerk and the city treasurer, and then place in the language that the city attorney or the firm is contacted in case there's some legal questions that need to be asked as far as the election commission concerned, not have a vote. Right now, they have a vote.
Okay,
I'm saying for them not even have a vote because we have a firm.
I like that too, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we had some reasonable things, so.
I prefer 3 people. Yeah, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, you.
Yeah,
finish it up.
I prefer 3 people who are who live in the city and who are employees of the city. So even if it's the city clerk, even if you take out city attorney and just find another job, if it has to be 3 people who work in this building, then find 3 titles that's in this building, but I don't want a firm. Like, so we can not even not have the city attorney. They're only there for a vote because if an electoral question comes up,
Right.
then they're asked to speak on behalf of that electoral question. But if an electoral question does not come up, there's no need to have them, to even have a vote because we have a firm. And so I'd rather have, those two options. Either it's three people who work in this city, work in this building, and it's not the city attorney. I don't want the city attorney should have a vote in this at all. Even if we had a city attorney.
Okay, that's, okay.
Even if we had a city attorney, I just don't think the city attorney should have a vote. You're only asked if if a question comes up about the electoral process. To your point, what happened last year, if it was a city attorney, and that person is still used by the administration, which even if we just go for a fact, if we go to last year, the last administration, whether they're firm or not, they still would have stalemated it. Because they'll be still afraid to lose their job. And they're only there for the electoral purpose, not to really cast down the vote. It just came down to them, and then we had that issue. I prefer that they don't even have voting power. You're just there if we have a question about any election process.
Thank you. Payne?
Well, I guess since we're saying no attorney at all, I was just going to say if we had confusions in regards to a city attorney or the firm, we can say and or firm, attorney, the legal firm.
I don't think that was Garrett's issue. It was.
That wasn't my issue, but she does bring up a good point if we go with not having a city attorney, not having a vote.
Right.
And put it in the language that they are to be referred to.
Okay.
If the city attorney or a firm should be referred to if a question was to come out about the electoral
Right.
process.
Okay, hold on 1 second. So this is how I read it now. Section 2.105, Election Commission. The City Election Commission is composed of 1, the city clerk, 2, the city treasurer, 3, 2 members, 2 residents of the city of Pontiac appointed by the council. The commission has general supervision of all elections in the city and may hire assistants, inspectors, other personnel, and consult with the city attorney and or firm regarding issues. Except as otherwise provided by this charter or ordinance, the commission shall perform all duties required of election commissions by law. It may subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, take testimony, and require the production of evidence. To enforce a subpoena or order of production of evidence, or to impose an penalty prescribed by failure to obey a subpoena or order, the commission shall apply to the appropriate court. All meetings of the commission shall comply with the state law. In case of any doubt concerning election procedures, the commission shall prescribe the procedure to be followed. The city clerk shall serve as chair of the election commission. Do we feel good with that?
No.
Okay, Williams, Killian, and then Williams.
So I think with the new configuration, we only have 4 people, so we need 5 people. So you got the
2,
city
3,
city
4,
clerk, we took out the attorney, so we should just put,
3 members?
and no, we should just put employee, non-attorney employee of the city chosen by the mayor.
Okay, so,
Yes, I can like that. I can do
okay, so it would be the city clerk, a non-attorney employee appointed by the mayor, and 2 residents of the city appointed by the council
And the city treasurer.
and the city treasurer. Okay, yeah, okay.
I make that motion.
Oh, wait, Killian had,
Yes, a reservation.
The reservation was that
it
once
was
you-
4?
We had 4.
Okay.
And once you remove that, the city attorney, which I agree, should be removed, or, as Ms. Payne said, if we do decide to use it, we should use city attorney and or firm. But I don't think it should be included. Now, do that leave us open to have to hire someone if we have legal questions about the election.
No, because we can consult with the city attorney or firm.
Without it being on this.
Yes, well, we put that
Put it
in
in
there.
language.
Yeah.
You put it in here.
The
I
commission,
just wanna make sure.
okay, yes, it would
Yes.
be included.
Okay.
All right, does everybody feel good about that?
Yes.
All right. Section 2.106, Williams.
Yeah, I just want to make the language consistent with 6 districts instead of 5.
So it would read, the city is divided into 6 electoral districts.
Yes. So I make that motion.
So should we do a motion for the last one?
Yeah, you should've.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I go back
Moving too
then to
fast.
2.
Did we digress to go back to 2.105 since we
2.105.
we made those changes?
Yep, and I make a motion to go with those changes.
And what were those changes?
fix it, baby Jesus.
So
Okay,
the
here we
changes,
go.
the changes were city clerk instead of city attorney.
Read the thing, Carmen.
Oh, the city election commission is composed of 1, city clerk, 2, a non-attorney employee of the city to be appointed by the mayor, 3, city treasurer, 4, 2 residents of the city of Pontiac appointed by the city council.
I mean, how fast you think I can write?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Sheila.
And then the wording, don't forget the wording of the commission. I'm not asking you to write yet.
I know, we gotta wait until
No,
she,
but
oh, yeah.
I know she's there.
You see that look?
I know. I just,
I'm not there.
no, she's,
I'm sorry. Repeat 2 again. I'm sorry.
2 is a non-attorney employee of the city
To be appointed.
to be appointed by the mayor.
Okay.
Then 3 is the city treasurer. 4, let me know when you're ready. 4 is 2 residents of the city of Pontiac appointed by the city council.
Okay.
And then we need to add the language that Mr. Garrett just said, so go ahead and get the language.
the language of any, we will see.
The
I just said it.
commission has general supervision of all elections in the city of Pontiac and may hire assistants, inspectors, other election personnel, and be consulted by the city attorney and/or firm,
That's it.
period.
By city attorney or firm,
Yes,
right? Okay,
consulted.
great.
Got it.
It's been moved by Williams,
Support.
supported by Garrett.
I had one question before you go there. Because we adding the 2, is that gonna be our 4 and 5, or that's just gonna be our 4, that we have 2 city residents?
I think it would be 4. It would, we don't have to be
It's
4
number
and
4
5.
numerical.
Yeah.
You good?
Roll call.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes,
Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
2.106, it has been motioned by Williams to change, the city is divided into 6 electoral districts,
Support.
supported by Garrett. Any other discussion? And this is just to keep in track with 2.101. Roll call.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
2.107, any concerns?
I have none.
So,
Garrett?
no, I was just looking at, no concerns, ma'am.
Okay. Payne?
So I guess, well, on one I had written, background checks, qualifications, and all of that of training and stuff, but I guess that doesn't comply, huh?
No, I think
Because
that's
you can't
illegal.
do that with,
Right, with elections.
Okey
We
dokey.
wouldn't have most of the Congress we got if we did.
Especially a president. Oh, I'm sorry.
And it has at least 50, I put 200.
Okay, so can you read what you have? It's nominating petitions of a candidate for nomination to the city council district shall contain the signatures of at least 200.
That's what I put, just 200.
Okay, and not more than, so it would be at least 50, but no more than 200, or did you want to start at 200?
You had 2.107, right?
Yes,
So they had it,
50 to 100.
so what we adopted, yeah, it said 150 at no more than 250 registered electors, and that was just for the city council at large seat. It wasn't for all of them.
I'm just trying to see, where did you have a 200 at?
Oh, I just had it at the signatures of at least 200 instead of 50.
So the last sentence of 2.107, starting at nominating petitions of a candidate for nomination to a city council district. She has at least 200 and not more than how many?
I didn't say not more than,
But, I'm sorry, point of clarity. But
not more than 300.
So that's what she's at, that's what her amendment was.
okay. We can't, well, we adopted to go by the 2013 charter revision. So by that being that basis, that was already scratched out. And so, since that was scratched out,
No, but if you look,
It's still 50 for the council
yeah,
by
it's
district.
50, at least 50, but no more than 100 is at the bottom. So
right, it says nominating petitions and
last
candidates,
line.
right?
it's the next sentence after that.
Nominating petitions of candidates of nominating for mayor shall contain the signatures of at
No,
least.
not that one.
You're skipping one,
It's the
brother.
second sentence.
The second nominating.
In bold and black.
Not the first one, but
Mine says not, in bold, it says nominating here.
You're not, no, brother, you're not
Yeah,
reading
yeah.
right
Oh.
here, brother.
We up here.
Oh, okay.
So it reads, nominating petitions of a candidate for nomination to a city council at large seat shall contain the signatures of at least 150 and not more than 200 registered electors. Nominating petitions of a candidate for nomination to a city council district seat shall contain the signatures of at least 50, but not more than 100. And Commissioner Payne wants to change that to 200, not more than 300. Discussion?
I think that's a lot for a district. I mean, I could say maybe not more than 100. 100 and not more than 150. So that way, somebody who's at large would be having to get more, 50 signatures more in order to run.
Okay. I don't,
Or we can just
Yes.
leave it. I mean, either way, I just think that 200 is a lot of signatures to get to run for city council.
all right. Any other discussion?
I just have a question
Yeah.
on why would you,
The reason,
what's your reason?
oh, that's what I was just gonna say.
Okay.
My reason basically for the 200 is that 50 is very easy to get. And if you have like, let's say we have 500 in a district, and you just get 50, to me, that's not really enough people to say this is who we want for our council person.
I can
50
go,
people out of 500, or out of, well, it's going to be more than 500, but.
oh, I'm sorry.
Can I ask, I would like to ask Williams
Yeah.
and Garrett, because they both have ran for office. Commissioner Williams, you have ran for city council. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think that 25 is low, so I see why they changed it. I don't know if the numbers make a difference because, but the more you get, the more scrutiny it is on valid signatures. So if you look at the people who actually made it on the Charter Commission, there was a lot of people that didn't get signatures, and they didn't qualify. So they got over 100 people to sign their actual page, but because of handwriting and dates and other things, they got kicked out. And so I don't want to, we haven't had any elections where we had 8 people running for city council, even when it was 25 signatures. It's just always been low, and I don't want to prohibit people who may be able to run a good campaign but may not be popular at the outset, to be prohibited from doing whatever, and then just having people who don't have, who have free time, let me say it that way, who have additional free time to get more signatures. We had somebody who was able to run for mayor, and all they was able to do is spend 8 hours every day at a grocery store in order to do it. A lot of people who signed a petition didn't necessarily vote for that person. They got more signatures than they ended up getting votes. So signatures don't necessarily speak to qualifications. It kind of speaks to time, in my opinion.
Commissioner Garrett?
I agree with Commissioner Williams. I do think, in the times that we're in, I do agree with the 100 to 150. Because I think candidates need to, or potential candidates need to do more than just, again, stand at a grocery store. It would force you to kind of move around a little bit, but again, it does not equate to, he's correct, it does not equate to votes at the poll. So, I'm with it either way, and it's not a hill I'm really willing to die on. I don't think the people would have an objection to either or.
Okay, so let's just do a quick caucus. Payne, what number, you would like to see 200 and 300?
I think I heard, did I hear
Williams say
Commissioner
100?
Williams say 100 or 150 or something?
It would
like
be
that?
100 to 200?
No, it was 100 to 150 was the gap. And I was just being consistent with the proportions that we had for the at-large seat. The proportions we have at the at-large seat is
Is 100?
150 to 250, right? And so in order to move that up to 100 to 150, because it's a smaller district, I mean, districts are smaller than citywide.
Okay.
So I just didn't want to have an unfair burden on them, because really, you get 150 signatures to run in the whole city, and somebody has to go in District 6 and get 200, doesn't seem fair to me.
So so Williams was saying 100 to 150, so at least 100, but not more than 150.
Okay, with that.
Okay. I like it as is, but I'm not pressed about it. So if we want to, Killian, what you say?
I think I'm with as is because I'm looking at the percentage of the number of people in those districts. What are they? And most of the times, and I'm assuming that this was based on the size of the districts, according to having a certain percentage to be able just to run. So I thought that was a safe number. I wouldn't mind I think it would be here, but I wouldn't object to 100 to 150.
I would like to amend. I think 100 to 150 because if we're doing 6 districts and not
that's what I'm saying.
7, it combines that. So we're going to change that. So 2.107 will now read nominating petitions of a candidate for nomination to the city council at large seat shall contain the signatures of at least 150 and not more than 250 registered electors. Nominating petitions of a candidate for nomination to a city council district seat shall contain the signatures of at least 100 and not more than 150 registered electors of the district involved. Moved by Williams,
Support.
supported by, it was a Killian? Garrett? And we're also keeping nominating petitions of candidate for nomination for mayor shall contain the signatures of at least 250 and not more than 400 registered electors. That's staying the same.
Yeah, I don't,
I had something different, but
What you got? This not a time to discuss it,
I'll go with the 250 or 300.
or 400.
I had 400.
It's 250, but not more than 400.
Right, okay. I guess I had 400, probably not more than, but I'll go with the 250, because that's quite a, not more than 400.
Anybody else? Are we good?
No, Garrett's not.
I'm just like, if he don't say nothing, because I
Listen,
see it on his
right,
face.
right. Listen, I watch these meetings when I'm not here, and I watch my facial expression. I'm just processing, but I mean, since you did say something, I mean, it's like, when I go through when I went through the last election, and you go through it, and you talking about signatures, then it's like what is some upfront work that you can do? But again, to Councilman Emeritus President Williams' point, like, it don't equate to votes at the poll. So I would leave it there. If I thought the work, I would agree with you, Ms. Payne. If I thought that it would, raising it to 400 people, but then there's a strategy where I can pay people to go get elections. See, what happens is, I got my eyes opened up for real, like, to this whole electoral United States process. Like, I pay 20 people $10 an hour to go get elections for me, to go get signatures for me. I'm not even the one collecting them. So no matter what we put here,
Yeah.
they're all going to have somebody paying out there, and it's going to be a group who say, I got 10 people, charge you $15 an hour, get them 10, you keep 5. Like, it's a hustle. It's a real hustle. So, no, I don't want to change. I don't even waste time having, I only wanted to change the 100 to 150 because of the fact of just making it a little bit, because you got that at-large seat. But these bureaus are about to get paid in the next year.
Well, let them make their money. Huh?
Yeah, let them make them. I'm not mad. Listen, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at them, and I'm glad we're having this open discussion to have this conversation, so I can just record this one little part playing it over and over on Facebook.
All right, so we're okay with the changes being 100 to 150. All right, it was moved by Williams and supported by Garrett. Roll call.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes,
Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
2.108, we good?
Yes.
Yes.
2.109, if you have something different, just say, I have something different as I'm reading these numbers out. 2.109, 2.110, 2.111, 2.112.
oh, you said 1-1?
Yes, 111.
I actually put 3 years. The city of any office within 2 years. I said 3 years.
So you said no person who has been recalled from an office or who has resigned from office while recall proceedings were pending shall be appointed by the city to any office within 3 years after such recall or resignation.
That's what I put.
Okay. You want to discuss it? Argue your point?
No, I just felt that it should give a person time to really, I just said 3 years, really.
All right, I'm good with the 4.
I just want to
Williams.
speak to the 4. I think the reason they changed it to 4 was to make it prohibitive for people resigning and then coming up on the next election.
Oh, that's the one. Okay.
That's,
I agree with the
elections
4.
are 4 years.
I
usually.
agree with the 4.
Okay,
I was looking on my other notes
okay.
and not this notes.
Everybody good with that one?
Yes.
2.112. Okay, so that would, so now we need to adopt Article 2 as amended, 2.101 to 2.112.
I moved it.
A second.
Moved by Williams, supported by Killian.
You scared? If I move, don't worry about it. If I don't move, you good.
Roll call. I was gonna hit the floor. I was like, okay, thank you. Only in Pontiac.
I love my city. What? Don't apologize. Do not get this twisted. Do not get this twisted.
Oh gosh.
We serve and protect over here at all meetings.
I appreciate that. Killian, you got to vote, Killian.
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Garrett.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
All right. Article 3,
This has to be changed.
3.102.
So 3, I'm sorry, ma'am. I just want to, I'm not Stewart, but I will read it based upon what he stated. He said, based on
thank you.
previous meetings, may need to change if the total number. City council of 7 should read 6 members is hereby created. The council is the well, no?
No,
It's still 7.
That's,
It's
yeah,
still
that's not the
7.
It's still
problem.
7.
We fix it in the next one.
Yeah.
Not that one.
So
3.1.
1.101 is still the same.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I digress. Thank you, ma'am.
Nope, that's
Yeah,
okay.
but that's where he had his
Okay.
thing.
Williams,
So I would like to amend that to change the bold to 1 council member elected at large, nominated by the entire city.
so I need you to read from the beginning.
Okay. Each district of the city shall be represented by 1 council member for that district. The member from each district shall be nominated and elected by the electors of that district. The 1 council member at large shall be nominated and elected by the electors of the entire city. You need me to read some more?
No. Is that the only change for that? For that section, 3.102?
Only one I can see.
Okay. Can I get a move?
Moved by Garrett.
Support?
Williams.
So it's been moved by Garrett and supported by Williams. Roll call?
Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays. It's 3.102.
3.103. I have an issue with that. I feel like it allows lame duck. By having 2 months, by having 2 months of time before the change happens. So my request would either be that we move that date up, or we put provisions in there to say what does it look like to transition power, so that it can be formalized and not an option. But those are two different things.
You're speaking of the beginning.
So the term of each council member, so I'm saying it either starts December 1st or 2 weeks after the election, or we put wording in here that says that this is what a transition looks like. And I just said we just need to have no lame duck in the transition plan if we want to keep it for January 1st. Williams?
Madam Chair, can we agree to table this and pull it out so we can actually think about that? Because I don't know what's consistent with the law, because, I mean, I don't know if 2 weeks makes a difference. Some places do it where it's just immediate, where election night, the next day, the person is out of office, because in 2 weeks, people can do a whole lot of damage if they're going to do a U-Haul or whatever, so it don't make a difference. I mean, to me, I don't know if we can figure out a time frame tonight. I mean, I just need to find out what's, I guess, legal with it, but I agree with what you're saying. I just don't know if we're gonna be able to come up with what that looks like. And maybe it will be another section in the charter that can speak to this, where when we come back to this point, then we can kind of flush it out. Because, I mean, if you give somebody 2 weeks or a month or whatever, and they're not right, it just creates all kinds of chaos.
Thank you. Garrett?
I don't think there's another part in the charter that speaks to this,
I don't think it is either.
but I think it did speak when the mayoral takes office, that's the only part. But I do think the council needs to take place immediately. I don't think so after experiencing this last, transition of power, or this whole last electoral process. Even if you left it to transition, some people don't even know what that means. Like, it appeared like we were going to have a transition, and then one day you were supposed to meet, and then it canceled. The next meeting is scheduled again, and then the transition team, then it was canceled. And then it was like, you kept pushing it down the line, and then next thing you know, you're taking off. But then, as that's happening, documents, things, people, directors, all types of people just kind of doing whatever they wanted to do during that particular point in time. So, I think you're right, this is one of those things by law, but I just want to be noticed going on record, if when you win your election, the very next day, or if it's that Tuesday, then that very next Monday, then you're sworn in. And then y'all can determine how the pace of how the
Transition happens.
transition, or the new mayor, or, you know what I'm saying, or if it's a new mayor, or how the mayor will flow, because that's during the holiday season. At least there'll be a city council in place that can say, hey, you know, this is the pace in which we want information, this is the pace that, you know, we need to transition, or we do want old city council members to come back if they will, to share some of the things that was going on in their particular district. It's a slow enough time in business that you can really get that done. You wait till January and it's a debacle. I don't want to wait till January. So I'm a full supporter of the immediate transition with city council, not necessarily the mayor itself. But city council.
Okay, thank you. Killian?
I'm not so with the immediate, but I do think the number should be reduced from January. Sometime, probably like a week. I think immediate will cause too much turmoil within that transition of the outgoing and the incoming, making that a difficult transition, especially if out of elected officials, you already got, a lot going on. But I do think it needs to be reduced. But I'm like you, I want to research what's legal and what can be done with, and what is the earliest. So,
Let me see.
Ibarra, welcome. We are on 3.101.103. Do you have any thoughts or recommendations? And this is from the new charter, right? You know, we're using the new charter,
The 2013.
2013.
I think the commissioners that Commissioner Garrett and Commissioner Williams, in which they're explaining having that reduced time. I guess as time or as the conversation moves forward, they do have that knowledge and experience of what that transition is like once elected. So just gaining that perspective of people a part of a transition team and experiencing the transition, I am in agreement with them to those who are in experience with it.
Would it feel better to say that there's a transition plan? So the election is the first or second Tuesday? Second Tuesday of November. So once the election happens and the votes are certified, there's a 3-week period where so they get sworn in on that Monday, but then there's until the end of the month to transition.
If you swear them in, there's
Is
no
no-
more.
no
There's
transition?
no more transition. I mean, two,
First Tuesday, okay.
but yeah, well, either way, two people cannot hold the same office.
Right.
So once they're sworn in, then there is no more power, just for logistic purposes, who actually runs the council meeting,
Right.
right? So if you've got two people sworn in, you just can't do it.
All right. Garrett?
So, and I just put in I'm sorry.
So just put in a little bit of real time. So the election will be held on November 5th, am I correct? It's the first Tuesday, right?
Let's just say if it was happening this year.
No,
Yes.
I put in the 2024, it says the
Okay.
first Tuesday is the 5th.
Okay.
Then I like Killian's point, Commissioner Killian's point of waiting that week or so. But normally the elections are certified by that Friday, 2 weeks. So if you're saying the 15th will be the certification date, or they will be certified, then the 25th, which is right after the holiday, you're going into Thanksgiving, right? I can honestly say by December 2nd, you should be able to be sworn in, because it gives you ample time. Even if you you go into the process of certifying the election, we all know, we have to just play this to our advantage. A person knows if you're going to win the election or not, unless it's going down, unless it's to a wire by one vote or something. We've had that happen before. But not in that case, it is the expectation of the person who is running for that seat to be brought up to speed, or not to be brought up to speed, to know the processes and know things about that seat that you're about to take. That's just pretty much how I look at it, and that's pretty much how I have been held accountable for the seats that I have ran for, is that people expect me to know. That's just been the expectation. And I know that's not always been the expectation in every seat or in every space, but if you're talking about changing the way we do business, right, and how we're going to do business, then this is a good space where you can hold folks who running accountable to say, now I expect you to know what, at day one, when you take office, not to know all skeletons in the closets, but know the basics. And that's just me. So I'm saying December 2nd, because anything after that, like I said, my experiences is going to January. There was a conversation around, did the mayor take office at this time? Did the mayor take office at this time? Like, it was just crazy. And it was like, there was so many things illegal that took place with the taking of documents being shredded, that we needed at the time. Once we got back over on this side, once the administration got set, that you didn't have. And the council themselves had no power to go after or to say what was taken or any of that. And so I'm saying this, sooner, I would just, if it was me, December 2nd, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Williams?
Yeah, again, I think we should table this. And the reason I say that is
you did
because
say that,
I
didn't
think that we're doing good. We're going through the charter today, but I think people need to probably sleep on it and talk to some constituents and some other people on some of the best practices, because what we may need to add is some succession planning actually in the charter. So what that transition actually looks like as far as keys need to be turned in by X amount of time and all this other stuff. Because for me, when I took office first for city council, I didn't get any documents or anything. So I started brand new, fresh, and we didn't have all this technology where you can just pull up a document or whatever. I had to literally go down to the clerk's office and figure out what was happening. I didn't get a key. I didn't get any of those things that were there. Matter of fact, the office for me wasn't even ready when we took office. So there was no succession plan. So I think we may need to take some time and spell out what needs to happen, so that way when people come in, they know what it means to vacate the office, because the charter didn't speak to that in the first place. And then we've also had recall elections where people were barricading people out of coming into office and other things beforehand. And it's nothing in the charter that speaks to that at all.
Yeah.
And so this is just a history of
Yeah,
where we've
I
been
remember
since
that.
1982. So before we just put a date and say this is what it
You're right.
is, we need to actually take some time and think about what that looks like.
Okay, so what's on the table is to table discussion 3.103.
Move. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sheila not here, so it don't really
Well,
matter.
I didn't have a question, but it's more like a comment, and it goes along with Commissioner Williams, because what I had put on the one is that they take office sooner than January the 1st, but need a defined, I put this area needs to be more defined. So I think what I was trying to say is that you need to go from A to B of what needs to be done in order for that transition to be smooth.
So I'm going to ask, since we are tabling this, that our next meeting, people come with language, having done research, and come with language of what they want 3.103 to look like. What does that succession planning look like?
Yeah, and then the other thing that, Madam Chair, that we probably need to add is some kind of emergency ordinance that goes in place to make sure that spending and everything else freezes or stays in place, so the city can actually run and operate. Because at some point, we had somebody that wasn't even signing checks or paying vendors when they were no longer going to get the seat. So.
So is that so I agree, and I think that should be with this term and the term of the mayor as well, right?
Right.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Payne?
back to Councilman Williams, I really, federal, state, and cities, because I do this before January 1st, but every state, city, and federal actually have this format, and there's a reason for that, and I'd like for us to add on to that. Research, is it illegal is it legal to take before January 1st?
It is legal. It
It
is
is?
legal, yes.
Oh,
Other municipalities do it. We just haven't. It is legal for
oh, I
municipalities,
just
local
thought it would have to be
municipalities to
followed
do it.
down from the federal to the city, but, okay. Well, then let's do it. It needs to be done.
So we will, yes,
no,
Williams.
it's just-
Oh, so we'll table that? So it was moved by Garrett to table section 3.103, and supported by Williams.
Yeah, I support it.
Roll call.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Ibarra,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays. So we're tabled.
3.104. Oh, wait, I turned the page. Okay, hold
That's it, organizational meetings.
on. Ibarra.
And this may be a discussion that I was not here. Just in terms of with the structure that we're providing, would there still be a president pro tem on the council?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Everybody good with 3.104?
Yeah, so Jose, just to give you an update, we agreed that it was going to be 6 council districts. It was going to be 1 at large. And then now that's where we're at now. So it's still 7 council members, just one of them is at large. And everything else has stayed the same.
But we're adjusting the districts to 6. We're reducing it.
Yes.
Copy that.
All right, 3.105.
Just want to flag that Stewart mentioned the frequency of the meetings.
All right.
Every 2 weeks.
So here it says the council shall meet at such times as prescribed by ordinance or resolution, except that it shall meet regularly, not less than twice per month. The mayor and 2 members of the council may call special meetings of the council. Are we good with that?
I would prefer it be changed to once a month, because nothing limits them from having more meetings. But I think that because we've been locked into the every week, and we're the only city that does that in the state of Michigan, that's problematic. And I know people say twice a month, but I think that especially with the length of the meetings that we're currently having, I think that once a month would actually lead to better subcommittees and other things in order to run the government versus having 2 times a month.
I disagree. Garrett?
Here's my problem with going to once a month, right now. There's not enough trust to go to once a month, right now. Twice, at least have the ability to say, we know we're meeting twice a month. That's what the school board does. But we got board governance in between there. So technically, we still meet 4 times. Have to have a board governance piece. So it allows for the committee conversations to come in. This particular council does operate by committee. They just need to be a little bit more vocal about it on which weeks they having them and not having them. But at least the community has been prepped already to say, when you say, we have 2 regular board meetings, we have 2 regular council meetings, we got committee A gonna meet on this second week, we got committee B gonna meet on this. The community already hears that. If you go to 1, then it's what y'all trying to have, you know what I mean, like right now.
Okay, I withdraw it,
That's
so
it.
we can move through this section. So
That's
I
it.
withdraw my objection.
Okay, so are we good with the not less than twice per month?
2 weeks with, if you need special meetings to be, they can do a special meeting if needed.
So what is your objection to saying twice per month in opposed, because if you say every 2
Well,
weeks, then it has
that
to
was
be-
just what I had on my,
so we're
twice.
fine with that. Okay,
Right.
so we'll keep 3.105 the same. 3.106. 3.107.
I had a change to compensation. Oh, no, that's 310. No,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Are we on 6?
3.106. We can go back to that. 3.106. Payne.
It says, the council shall determine its own rules and order of business and shall keep a journal of its proceedings in English, Spanish, and Spanish.
Okay. So we're changing 3.106 to say, to add in English and Spanish.
And that's what I just put.
What you're saying. Okay, would you like to make a motion, Commissioner?
I make a motion that we add Spanish as a second language.
Support,
So it's been moved by Payne and supported by
Garrett.
Garrett to add Spanish. Discussion? All right. Can the clerk ask the question?
The clerk,
Yes.
Madam Chair, you can.
Well, she asked, I'm just trying to get some clarification. It's the minutes. I don't think so. Oh,
No, I'm sorry, I'm waiting.
okay. And I think, in my opinion, and somebody might be able to correct me, you would need to have someone who is here or sees the meetings, because you can't, there are words that just does not translate word for word. And so you would need somebody to actually take the notes or to read the document and then, to read the document and then interpret it. Garrett?
Okay, so, and to resolve that issue, you can have a translator like they have either at the courts to do the documents themselves, but then also, the state of Michigan has a bilingual program where we've actually put 25 graduated students through for both, 23 were Spanish, 22 were Hmong, because those are the most populated languages in our city at this point in time, so they can translate from verbal to written, and then the program that the state of Michigan has allows them to be certified, because they are certified to write and speak fluently in both languages. So that's why I support this, because we do have the resources to make sure that this is particularly done, and we use this in the district as well.
Hold on, Killian, did you have your?
Yes, it was,
Okay.
based upon the same thing. Would we have to add either someone to interpret? And the language of, do we say that once we add in Spanish that we add that? that we need an interpreter at the meetings in order.
No, they gotta figure it out. I don't think we wanna be so prescriptive where,
Yeah.
yeah, Williams?
Yeah, I just wanted, so the clerk's minutes are the official minutes. We had that whole thing with previous administration where they were trying to transcribe everything we said, and then especially for the marijuana people, and they were trying to use that against it. So I would make a friendly amendment to the motion to say the proceedings in English and to be reproduced in Spanish as needed. So that way, it would still make the English version the document that goes to court. So if there's a misprint, a misspell or something, that the city's not liable, especially when you're dealing with ordinances or whatever. And then that also gives the clerk flexibility on timeliness in order to produce it in Spanish. So if they have to sit down with somebody and go over the notes or whatever it is, then that gives that time. If we put it in the charter just as English and Spanish with no other terminology in there, it forces them to have that produced on that same timeline as our regular minutes.
Agreed.
But your Word document translates from English to Spanish immediately.
Well, not,
Garrett,
okay. And again, supporting his motion, but to your point, Word does not, Word hasn't caught up with the dialect or enunciation of certain words, even when it's automated to speak in Spanish. And so that's why you have to have this that's why the state of Michigan went with this certified bilingual program for written and verbal, is one of the reasons. So Word just doesn't automatically do it. Like it does it, but some words is not interpreted the way that is said in English. They use a different word. So to Commissioner Williams' point, to have it reproduced, like once the clerk does it in English, you can give it to a certified person who can redo it in Spanish. And it's reproduced the exact same way that it was in English. Instead, you would think that you can just say, hey, Word, highlight, interpret in Spanish. It just doesn't do it. It doesn't do it correctly for you, if you will. AI hasn't caught up with that just yet.
and I guess my concern is I just wanna make sure that it's not an afterthought. Like, we have a lot of residents who speak Spanish, who read Spanish as their primary language, and if we had to go up to some place and say, can you do this in English, we would feel excluded. I don't want to exclude anyone, so I just want to make sure that it's reproduced in Spanish, but it is an expectation that it is going to happen.
Yes.
Right.
Williams?
Well, that's all I'm saying.
Right, that's what, yeah, I feel that. Williams?
No, I agree with both of them. I think that we should also just say when there's public access that there needs to be Spanish captioning available on all of the media or whatever. So people are watching this via Facebook right now, but there is no option for them to hear it in Spanish. So even though this is open and publicly accessible, it's not giving them that opportunity if that's what it is. So I think it's two things. I'm just worried about the legality of the minutes versus the access of the minutes, is what I'm saying at this point. Because whatever we create, this is the bylaw that's going to go through. And I know technology is going to catch up and change, and in 15 years, this may be something different. But right now, I just want to make sure that we're not putting the clerk's office out of compliance with the state and other things. They have to reproduce these minutes in a certain amount of time in order for it to be correct, or we can get in violation of the Open Meetings Act.
So, as worded as is, reproduced in Spanish, that's fine, right? Would it be possible, I don't want to put a time.
I think that covers that.
Yeah,
Well, there are interpreting companies that do that.
and that would be up to the city to decide,
Right.
right, based on the budget.
But it needs to be done. So if we have to hire someone to do that, then we need to do that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so I guess, so it would be, right, the council shall determine its own rules and rules add order, is that add order?
Yeah.
And it should be
It should-
in
it should have
order?
said and order.
In order, okay. And order of business, and shall keep a journal of its proceedings in English with reproduction and reproduced in Spanish.
Correct. Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
and, yep. Reproduced in Spanish. All right, and that was moved by, we gotta, oh, no, we good. It was moved by, Payne and supported by Garrett. Roll call.
Williams,
Yes.
Ibarra,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian, Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
3.107. 3.108.
Well, on 7, gosh, I wish I brought my other notes. I'm sorry. And the quorum. I did define what a quorum is because it's
Quorum
the
is 5.
percentage.
It's the percentage of the number.
Right.
4. Quorum is
So,
4.
yeah, so if it's 7,
The 7 is 4.
it's 4.
Right. So we don't want to do that.
I don't think you need to.
Okay,
I think the word majority speaks to it.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, 3.108, Williams.
Yeah, I do have a problem with the language they adjusted because it says present and voting. So with this thing, you could actually have a time where you have 5 council members at a meeting, 3 vote yes, and 2 vote no, and something passes.
What would be your recommendation?
I think we should just keep the original language that's there.
Can you read the original language?
Except as otherwise required by this charter, no action of the city council shall be effective unless adopted by a majority of council members serving.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, 'cause,
Period.
yeah, the way they got it set up, you could have 4 people have a special meeting, right? And 3 of them, 3 of them could vote yes, and something will pass.
Did you make a motion?
I make a motion.
Williams made a motions to change section 3.108 to read as reflected, except as otherwise required by this charter, no action of the council shall be effective unless adopted by a majority of the council members serving, period. Is there a support?
Support.
Moved by Williams, supported by Payne. Discussion.
Can you recap the motion real quick?
So the motion, I'll read it again just for clarity's sake. Except as otherwise required by this charter, no action of the council shall be effective unless adopted by the majority of council members serving, period.
Can you explain why?
So the logic behind that is, in order to call a council meeting, all you need is a quorum, which is 4 people. So you could literally have a 3-to-1 vote and something would pass, which is not representative of the council body, especially if somebody calls a special meeting or something to that effect.
But then it also says in here, present, I'm sorry, Madam Chairman,
Please.
but it also says right here, present and voting during the actions vote.
That's the part he took off.
That's the part I took off. That's what I'm saying. I wanted to make an amendment to stop. So the original language is council member serving. That's what's in the 1982 charter.
Right.
They changed it to present and voting. What I'm saying to you is, you could literally have half of the council voting on stuff.
So couldn't you do that? I mean,
No,
so I don't
right
understand
now, right now, no matter what happens, you need 4 votes. Period. That's what
Right.
happens. With this,
4 yes votes.
You need 4 yes votes.
Yes.
Well, what they're trying to change it to, you could do this with a lesser number of people.
So you can do it with 4 people, have 3 yes votes, and it still pass. But it's not a majority of the council, it's a majority of the council present that day.
Right, or you could have a meeting with 4 people, you could have a roll call vote, 2 of those people vote yes, 1 person goes to the bathroom and 1 person votes no, and it passes with this new language.
Oh, because you're president vote. You're right. Third meeting today, sorry.
So it's been moved by Williams, supported by Payne. Roll call.
Williams,
Yes.
Ibarra,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
What was they thinking of?
3.109. I'm going to pause. Does anybody have anything?
Well, no,
Yes?
no, that was another one I was.
3.109. 3.110.
So,
Williams.
yes, I would make a motion to amend that language, and I wrote it out earlier this morning, so, see if I can find my
Okay, and
sheet.
read it slowly.
I got to find my sheet.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll rewrite it right now. Council membership is a part-time position with the exception of the city council president.
Should that be written out separately?
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. I just got a text. With the exception of the city council president. Okay, Payne.
If we're down to what, 7, 6?
3.1.
What do you?
No, I mean, councils.
We have
If
7
we have-
council members.
If we have 7
6
councilmen,
districts,
so we,
1 at large.
maybe we should say, the president, full-time,
That's what you just said.
and then the 6 council members are part-time.
So city council membership is a part-time
It's the
position
same thing, it's just
With the
worded.
with the
better.
exception of the city council president, who will be full-time.
And he full-time? Okay, just put that in there.
Yeah, we're just gonna add who will be
It
full-time.
will be full-time, because if you just say exception, what is your exception?
Yeah,
We just said
I
it, we
was
just
trying
said
to-
it, we just added it, yep.
That's what I was
Okay.
trying to knock out as exception.
Yep, we got
Spell
that.
it out.
We got that.
Okay.
Discuss.
And I'm not too
Oh,
sure.
I'm sorry, hold on. It was moved by Williams. Was it supported?
Support.
Support by Garrett. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, and I'm not too sure where this goes in the charter, but this is the part of the conversation. Should there be some sort of language for it to say compensated based on responsibility that is given? And I wouldn't want to limit that to the council, but to the elected as a whole.
Garrett.
I think it covers that when you go down a little bit more. It says the council members shall be paid by the city as determined by ordinance, the ordinance, comma, this charter and law. You can also change that to say that the council members, that includes the president. So I think it covers it right there in bold. For what you're asking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Garrett, I'm sorry, Williams.
Oh, no, he said it.
Okay, Payne.
Well, I was just wondering, with the striking of the council member may be paid by the city in the sum of $100 for each official meeting of the council attended by the meeting. However, no member of the council shall receive more than $5,200 in any 1 year. Now, I guess I'm wondering, what is the concern with striking that out and just leaving such a vague, because I know that through years or things like that, that there are times that you vote on changing or raises or whatever, but it does help to give a guidance as to how much, as opposed to making up $500, for a meeting.
Williams?
So, Ms. Payne, this was in 1982, and so in 1982, this was a nice sum of money for people to have for doing part-time work. The charter also didn't speak to other compensation. People had vehicles, they had city gas cards and other things to make up for that. There is a compensation committee that convenes, and they set the pay scale for the mayor and the city council. By law, city councils can override what the charter commission comes up with, the compensation commission comes up with, and vote for their own raise, but that's by state law. So even this phase that's in there doesn't stop the city council from overruling that piece. So what
Okay.
I'm saying is, why would you put something in, or continue to put something in the charter that is currently out of compliance with the current law, that supersedes it? And so that's why it says by ordinance, the charter, and the law in the next paragraph, Ms. Payne. So what I'm saying is, there's an ordinance that goes along with this book that talks about the compensation commission.
Okay,
Wait, I'm sorry, just one thing. So at this point, we're looking at the second part, the part that's in bold. The council member shall be
Right.
paid by the city as determined by ordinance, this charter, and the law.
right, that's what I'm saying. Because you just brought something to my attention, and I had forgotten that there is a compensation committee. So why don't we put that in there?
What I'm saying, Ms. Payne, is the compensation commission is what state law has come up with, and the city complies with that. If state law changes, then we will be putting extra things in the charter that no longer apply. The reason that we're all sitting up here is because we have a whole document with things like the city hospital. What I'm saying to you is, law is a catch-all. So if it says applicable by law, whatever the state comes up with, then the city of Pontiac will have to do.
It needs to be more in there that I'm not pleased with just that one sentence, that's all.
Okay, so we can, so
Without
it's been
defining
moved.
it.
It's been, in its current, with the additions that we made, it was moved by Williams. Who's it moved by?
Williams is supported by me.
And supported by Garrett. Let's take a roll call vote and see if we have the votes. So it was moved by Williams, supported by Garrett. It would read 3.110. City council membership is a part-time position with the exception of the city council president, who will be full-time. The city council shall be paid by the city as determined by ordinance, this charter, and law. Roll call.
Williams,
Yes.
Ibarra,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
No.
Payne,
No,
Ramsey,
Yes.
4 yeas, no nays. 4 yeas, 2 nays, sorry.
4-2.
Okay. It has passed. Killian, can you tell me what your reservations are?
It's vague. I think we need a little more clarification. Like Ms. Payne is saying, I don't know if it's in this or later on, but I like that even though the times has changed and the numbers have changed, he gave specifics according to a certain payment. But now with the committee saying that, I think that takes that part. So I'm kind of leaning towards, that's where I'm at with, if we had more to say, the committee sets the pay scale.
The compensation committee. I think that's the ordinance that we're talking about. So I think if we get more prescriptive, they can, the compensation committee still do an ordinance that negates that right there. So that's when it says by ordinance, that is the compensation commission.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
And I will just say, reviewing different charters, they do have established their elected officials shall be paid as determined by ordinance, the charter, and the law. And that's just to give a foundation for not only the next elected officials, but the future generations that are going to be elected here in Pontiac. It gives the foundation of what is needed, but then it gives it to the experts like the Compensation Commission to allow them to use the skills that they know to officially allocate the funds correctly, efficiently, and smartly. If we were to do that on our own, I just feel like we wouldn't be doing of who have the knowledge of it doing that work. So I guess that's why I was supportive as determined by ordinance, just to get that fluctuation, because this charter isn't going to reflect the present, it's supposed to reflect the future to come.
Thank you. Okay, it has been, I just wanted to get some clarity just to make sure people don't feel uncomfortable. The ordinance is the compensation commission. They have increased it, so even this right here was already irrelevant. So because they can do it, what is it, every 4 years? Mm-hmm. Because they can be every 4 years, then this part, if we were being more prescriptive, it would be, they could change it before the charter would be revised. Mm-hmm. Garrett,
Go ahead.
Garrett
No, I'm just,
Williams.
Yeah, just wanted to note that in this charter that they have come up with, the Compensation Commission is mentioned in 6.104.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. And so if we want to add some additional guidance or whatever, when we get to that section, maybe that's where you add the teeth or the prescription on what we envision. But I just want to.
You said
flag-
six what?
6.104.
All right, 6.104. All right, 3.111.
So I just want to flag this just
Yes.
because we had some people that talked about the appointment of clerk, so I just want to flag that. So, but I'm good with it.
What you flagging?
I'm just for discussion. So
Okay.
if anybody want to have a discussion, this would be the point.
3.111.
so, it says indefinite period, okay. So who, does the council, okay, the council appoints the clerk, right? So do they have a yearly evaluation? Like, how do you know the clerk is doing what they're supposed to be doing? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. I seen a lot of flip-flopping going on in this last, I'm just a plain speaker. I seen a lot of flip-flopping going on in this last 4 years as it relates to the clerk was over here, then the clerk was over there, then it was, and I can get a little bit more specific. Y'all know me, I got my documentation. So I'm just trying to figure out is this the place where we put the teeth in, that it's a yearly evaluation, and who evaluates the clerk? I don't like the word indefinite period, because it's just like saying that depending on who's sitting here or council person, like, the person can never leave. The person could be the most consistent person with, through the whole thing and just never leave. Like, and then you have to go through 5 people if we want to remove the person. And that just seems like I don't know. It's like they're elected official without being an elected official. And I just don't, there's just something about that I just don't like. And the movement that I've seen in the past is whereas that the clerk can operate on the behalf of council, and I've seen the clerk operate on behalf of administration, and then I've seen the clerk be neutral and then just kind of wait till things implode, and then go, well, I'm gonna go this way. But there's no evaluation, like, there's no duties, like, there's, outside of elections, right? That's what I've seen. But what are the things that, we can put in here that will hold the clerk accountable too? Because it's a very powerful position, and I saw that during the marijuana piece. And I'm like, I just don't, like, at that point, does it, because you're appointed by council, is the council your boss? Is it, how does that?
It is confusing.
It was very confusing during that
Okay,
time.
so two things. So this is talking about if we want to have an appointed or elected.
Elected.
And if it is appointed, is there an evaluation? But also, 3.201 goes into the functions of the clerk, and then we can get more prescriptive there because they got very prescriptive here. Ibarra?
I think I'm sorry, I just think the council, if that being the case, because I just only known it to be appointed by the council, the clerk should be elected. Like,
I agree.
if you're gonna have, from what I've seen, just my experiences in Pontiac, the clerk was the only common denominator that could not be touched during that whole flip-flopping period. I just identified as flip-flopping because there was a lot of things that happened in that marijuana piece, from administration to city council, then the clerk, and then if we're not, we have to put some teeth in the charter to say who can hold the clerk responsible.
All right, it's
That's all I'm saying.
Ibarra.
So whether it's election, then it's to the people, and then if it's elected, then who's responsible for that person?
Okay,
Is it-
Ibarra and then Williams.
So I guess I wanted to bring up one of the suggestions that Commissioner Stewart
What's
brought
that?
up when just talking about reshaping the government structure. One of the things was including required to allocate funds for a public integrity officer who would have that opportunity to investigate the waste, abuse, fraud, and corruption in the city government. Can also put in the teeth for jurisdiction extends to all employees, contractors, and those seeking to do business with the city of Pontiac. So that could be one of the public integrity officer's responsibilities, is to review the elected officials, but as well as the city clerk, and just simply holding them accountable, and maybe even providing what they have under their review to the public. So just wanted to bring that up as well, that to your point, who should be holding these people accountable could be the public integrity officer.
Williams.
Yeah, I think the city clerk's office is the only office under the city council, only employees under the city council. I think what would be helpful is putting in a clear qualifications sheet of what that looks like, and really digging into the scope of work that is there for the city council. And I know they did a good job with adding. I think that what would be very dangerous that I've seen is when you don't have the documents that you need to protect the city. And Ms. Sheila can attest, we have people for you and stuff all the time. We had a man that would try to sue us for Open Meetings Act all the time, and if you weren't producing that document in a certain amount of time, that can happen. And so I hear about electing people, which is fine. I'm generally in belief of election, but I think that everything doesn't need to necessarily be politicized. And when you make the clerk a political position, then you change the scope of work and the way that they're able to deal with and be utilized in the city. What we've had, we just had a brand new mayor and a brand new city council. That was 8 people. And so if we're talking about moving up the transition and you had an election at the same time as these people were elected with a clerk, you have absolutely nobody that has any documentation whatsoever. And so I think that other things can be put in place that will speak to reining some of that things in. And I like the nepotism clause and other things they have in this charter as we go through it. But I think that just because a position can be elected and it's elected in other cities, I think we need to be cognizant of how we keep some continuity in the city.
That's fair. That's,
I agree.
Okay, so I just, Gary, I feel what you're saying though, because the clerk is removable by a vote of 5 members of council. Like that's, like, can we change that?
I think we could add that the clerk could be removed by citizen referendum
Removed by 5 votes from the council or?
or a referendum. So even though they're appointed, they could technically be recalled for cause or whatever.
Okay.
And then that would have to be election then. But I just don't think just electing a clerk every 4 years is, and they're dealing with that in Southfield right now. They don't necessarily like the politics of late. So now you got people that are trying to change the clerk to appointment because they didn't like who just won the election. That stuff is crazy. And you can't have that where somebody's supposed to be giving out birth certificates and doing a notary and just other things. I just think that out of all of the positions in the city, that's one of the positions where we shouldn't even really know who the clerk is. Like, that shouldn't be one of the positions where it's really in that mode. So that's my thought.
Garrett and Killian, did you have your hand up?
I don't think he went for the first time.
Okay, Killian and then Garrett.
I yield to you. You didn't go for the first time.
Thank you, sir.
I am indefinite about this indefinite period to be removed. I don't think no person should be more powerful than anybody else in this city. And that gives them the equation of, they don't, that's the majority. I mean, that's a super majority damn near. When you say 5 members, it only takes a 4-3 vote to get something in. It's gonna take 5 to remove our clerk, which has an indefinite period. I'm leaning towards a little bit of being elected, but I do hear what you're saying as far as qualifications and getting the experienced person in to that particular job, because that is what is needed by the city, is a qualified clerk. And once that, I think if we give that more teeth, I would sway back towards it being appointed, but I do want that indefinite period, as far as I'm concerned, removed.
Garrett and then Ramsey.
I can agree to what, to the indefinite part being removed. And I also understand what you're saying by the election piece, right? Like, I understand that. And I guess my point of just saying by election is just about more accountability. You know what I'm saying? Even if you put a qualified person, and let me just kind of put this in the atmosphere, right? I can check all the boxes on being qualified and I can be in there. But if it's certain things that hit the radar that I know that can move, I have the power to move, like in my scope, my credentials at that particular point in time don't play into my integrity role. And so it's just me, it's just that whole part of, again, with the city of Pontiac. I'm grateful for the research everywhere else. Fine, if we stay with the appointment, then it has to be, that person has to be accountable to either 4 council members or a council member or the council president, since the council president is full-time, then that's who they report, that would be their day-to-day report to person. But then in order to remove them or evaluate them, the council has to set up some kind of evaluation process. Because it was a little bit of experience or knowing how to do a certain role here when we came up to certain things, but it also was an integrity piece that may not have been the clerk's fault. Like, it was actually some things that were from the administration that was placed on our clerks, that they put out against the clerk. Like, and then the clerk had nowhere to go. Like, the clerk had no immediate boss to go to say that, hey, I'm being intimidated. This is happening to me. This is, so forth and so forth and so on. And I felt like, okay, that's a process that we need to look at. And again, I'm with you because if all of them going out at the same time, that's a bad idea. We know that now. Well, maybe. But the clerk itself, as vital as the clerk is, who does the clerk report to on a day-to-day basis? Who are they? And then if they're not doing the job, or something comes up, I like the integrity officer, but the integrity officer, as it was written, nobody gave it any teeth that they could hire or fire. It was just to say that you just give a report. We live in a city, if you can't mess with my money, I don't care what you're talking about. That's what most of us, that's how we move. But to the point of, I believe that consistency need to be there. The election piece, you're right. I believe that I can yield to that part, but it's the accountability piece. Like, who, I think it should report to the president, and I also think that there has to be an evaluation every year of this person, and that should go into if the person qualifies to stay or not, or some kind of accountability measure needs to put in the charter. That's I'm trying to get to.
I yield because we agree that we're not looking for an elected clerk, right? We've taken that off the table.
I think I got a solution.
Yeah, I'll take after.
Okay.
Yeah, if I put it on the table, I take it off. I'm sorry.
I think I got a
Yeah.
solution that
Wait, but-
takes into account everybody. So
Okay,
can I say it?
Let me just say my issue with the elected. I think the clerk, to me, is like the deputy mayor. Like, we need qualifications, and when people are running, we can't put those qualifications in place. And so we need to be able to hone that. Councilman.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry,
no,
Commissioner Williams.
You're fine. I think what would be helpful is that the language that I would like to put in is the council shall appoint a city clerk for a 3-year period. The clerk is removable by a vote of 5 members of city council or lack of council confirmation. So what I'm saying is, so in order to remove somebody, you usually remove them for cause. You have a special meeting, you say, this is enough, blah, blah, blah. If people have a 3-year appointment, which if scheduled right, it's outside of the 4-year terms of the council or whatever, and then they bring a clerk in, then the council has to have a 4 vote, which is not that supermajority that you're talking about, to confirm that person. So that way, every 3 years, there's an evaluation. That would be when the citizens can come to the podium and speak about like or dislike of what the clerk is doing or whatever. And then the council would either have to confirm that person because they're his boss or her boss, or they would not get confirmed. And then if they're not confirmed, then the council has to appoint a new person.
Every 3 years, though?
Y'all said y'all didn't like the indefinite period of time. So I'm just,
Hopefully they doing their job so they don't get.
I'm sorry, Madam
yeah.
Chair.
Go ahead.
So,
Here.
okay. And I want that to happen. And I think we need to have qualifications. What I'm saying is that once a person is there, the city is in a place where things have happened that power or whatever influence or it just hits that person's doorstep, your qualifications ain't coming into the part where your integrity needs to kick in. And I'm saying when your integrity don't kick in, even though you qualified to do that job, somebody needs to be able to say, hey, this don't look right. Or you're not doing this fast enough, or we asked you to set up something and it's not set up in the fashion that we all agree upon, or that is, or set up in a timely manner, whatever it may be. Somebody else over that off, or in this dais needs to be able to say, and maybe it is the clerk, maybe it is the compliance person, to say that, hey, something don't smell right here. And I don't want to wait 3 years to do it. That 5 bothers me because if it takes 4 to remove you as a president, it should take 4 to remove the person, anybody. 5 is, I don't like the 5. I want to go down to 4. I like 4. But again, it should be somebody, if the president is going to be full-time and the clerk is the employee, it's no different than an attorney where it's no different than as a board president and as a chair, I'm responsible for a superintendent day-to-day and I'm responsible for attorney day-to-day. And if there's something that goes different, I can report back out. We don't have that structure here. And if you say it's every 3 years, then I don't know what that looks like.
No, I yield that. Madam President, I think I have another idea.
Okay,
Maybe-
wait, so we've X'd out the last one.
We've X'd out the
Okay,
last
go
one,
ahead.
so this is the new one.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
The council shall appoint a city clerk for an indefinite period of time. So leaving that the same. The clerk is removable by 5 members of the city council or by the council president and 3 other members voting yes.
Here's the thing. Madam Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
Now I'm still giving it to a political facet of saying the president has day-to-day influence, but I shouldn't have no more time than 7 of my members. So that's why I switched to 4. It's 4. The council, just because you're the president, don't make your vote no stronger than anybody else's. The only reason why you're the president, you full-time, and you getting a paycheck in my eyes is the fact that you are invited, you know more, you are more accessible to things. My expectation of you is to have more of the day-to-day, not influence, but day-to-day knowledge of operations on a regular basis. So if something happens where the administration is asking the clerk to do something that the clerk is uncomfortable with doing, the clerk can then say to the council president, today, I am uncomfortable with doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm or something is happening to me where I feel like my job is in jeopardy because I have council members also, Mr. President. So I need the council president, to your point, I think I just talked to it, where like that you just allow myself to talk. I have to talk through these things, man, like because these are real life situations. If I got that much confidence in the president to be full-time, I should have that much of confidence to where the president says the clerk should go or not. You're absolutely right. Got it. I like that.
All right, does anybody else need to talk themselves through it? We good? You're gonna have to reread that again, Will. But, Payne?
I'm back with indefinitely. I don't
Okay.
like that.
Okay, so Williams, can you read it in the last?
Well, no, the indefinite is there because that way.
No, just read the whole thing again that you said.
Okay. The council shall appoint a city clerk for an indefinite period. Period. The clerk is removable by 5 members of the council or by the council president and 3 other voting members for a total of 4. So let me spell it out to make sure that's clear.
So the clerk is removable by vote of 5 members of council or the council president and 3 other members of council.
For 4 total
for
votes.
4 total.
Well, why are we putting 5 in there?
Yeah, so why don't you just remove
Because-
that?
So the reason, my logic behind this is there might, 5 is a supermajority, right? And so if you only give 4, but the president has to deal with the clerk, and the clerk is doing what the clerk needs to do, then it's important that the direct supervisor has the most say-so in what's going on. Because if we're making this person full-time, they're up here every day from 8 to 5, they see what's going on, they have a better explanation. I would want their vote on this particular issue to weigh in what the city council actually has, versus it being where if it's just 4 votes, that's on any given night, somebody can get mad and then they just remove the clerk. What I'm saying to you is your boss has to say they no longer want you, and then they have to convince 3 other people to go along with it. Or if the council president is adamant, that's my friend, I'm gonna keep this person, great. 5 people say this brother's not doing right, so it could be a vote of 6 or whatever, they can vote that person out. That's why I'm saying not a simple 4. Because on any given night, you can have 4 people that have had a bad week, and then you get a big turnover. I mean, that's why I think the supermajority was in there in the first place. But what I'm saying is, you want to have it where, because it's hard to get 5 votes, and so if you've got 3 other people plus your direct supervisor upset with what you're doing, then I think that would be reason to weigh in doing that. It's hard to get 5 people to agree on anything. We've been working on that all night.
That's
that's
not
my
true.
logic.
You're not gonna use us for no example of your council.
Thank you.
Don't ever do that again, sir. Please, thank you.
Well, you did come at me for saying your name wrong, even though I was flustered coming in
This
here.
is my point.
It was
So
some tension.
anyway, that's my
It
point to
was
Mr.
some
Kelly.
It was some tension.
She likes saying Gilbert.
I didn't, I was flustered, it was some tension, it was some tension. Pain,
I forgot. Sorry.
but you were against it.
Yes,
you
Oh,
were
yes.
against it, but
Right.
you wanted it out?
yes.
Okay. What would you? Okay, before we do that, is there a motion on the floor?
I make a motion.
There's a motion on the floor with that current language. Let's take a vote and see if we there.
Well,
Garrett. Killian, no. it's
When you saying definite,
indefinite.
I'm telling you now. That's
so
my
can,
stickler.
so can we, so when you say indefinite, because this only talked to as an appointment of the clerk. I do have a problem with the indefinite. The council shall appoint a city clerk, period.
But when the man said,
What, I don't have here's
you
the
didn't want a
indefinite
time
piece.
frame?
Here's
Because
the-
he said 3 years.
Right,
And you
but-
ain't like that.
Well, but in the next, when we get to the chapter where the council duties, like, is that the place where we can put in there that the city council is evaluated, or do we do it in this part where it's appointment? Because there is no, this
We
is
can do
something
it
new.
here.
Right, because there is no space in the charter saying where the clerks get evaluated or the clerk get, like, if it's indefinite, then it's indefinite, but on a yearly evaluation takes place. I would add that.
Yeah, so Kermit
Yes.
be missing words, cause I think the council shall appoint a clerk, for 3 years. It was that evaluation piece was there. You didn't say it, though. You gotta say it. You gotta say it.
Oh, okay. But what I'm saying is,
He had said, that's what he.
that was the whole point of the 3 years,
Yeah.
was to
I
make sure that the
understood,
clerk.
but he
Yeah,
didn't say that.
But he didn't say it, so see, you gotta say it.
See,
But
like I
that's
said,
a-
that's my whole point. So so I'm gonna
I can't
yield
make
to
it up
friendly,
for him.
listen, I'm gonna yield to friendly amendments. So, Commissioner Garrett, can you read the resolution, read the piece as you would like it to read? So that
Yes, sir.
we may have a better understanding.
Okay. The council shall appoint a city clerk for a 3-year period with a yearly evaluation. The clerk is removable by a vote of 5 members of council or by council president and 3 members of council, period.
No. If we're gonna be doing yearly evaluations, it should be the city council shall appoint a city clerk for an indefinite period with yearly evaluations, period. And then the clerk can be removed by a vote of 5 or by the president and 3 others, right? Because if you're saying 3 years, then after 3 years, they have to be reappointed. Every 3 years, they're gonna have to
They
be
should be
reappointed.
reappointed. You're right.
But why do that if I'm doing my job and it's just going right? You
But
don't
if
have
you're
to.
not doing your job,
Well, that's where the yearly evaluation comes in, right? So we're doing a yearly evaluation that person can be removed at that point every year.
Okay, so I will read it as I want to state it. Can I read it as I want to state it? Okay.
Read it.
Why we like this? Why we like this?
Because this is, I'm gonna be honest. Listen. We work here, man. Like this is, y'all been in other groups before. Whatever. Be acting brand new. Appointment. The council shall appoint a city clerk for an indefinite period with a yearly evaluation. Upon a satisfactory evaluation, the clerk shall continue in its appointment, period. The clerk is removable by vote of 5 members of council or president and 3 other members of council, period.
If they have an acceptable evaluation.
No,
If that's what you
I
gonna
know,
do.
I don't want,
Said,
I
yeah.
just,
No, I'm saying, if that's what you wanna do,
no, I don't want them, I don't want if, again,
cause that's
I
gonna be my
listen.
question.
Okay, so I don't want them if they have a unsatisfactory evaluation, we're appointing a new clerk anyway.
Right.
If it gets,
In your statement, where did it say that?
because it doesn't, because I said, it said it when I said that the council shall appoint a city clerk for an indefinite period. A yearly evaluation shall be conducted.
Right.
Upon a satisfactory evaluation, the clerk shall continue its appointment.
Period. That's
Period.
it right there. So if there's an unsatisfactory evaluation, then they will not continue. That's what it says.
Right.
That's what it says.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, if it's a good evaluation, they shall continue.
They shall continue. If it's not an unsatisfactory, if it's unsatisfactory, then they can't
They're
continue.
not gonna continue.
Right. But to Garrett's
well,
point,
back to,
to Garrett's point, the reason it's got to read in that way without changing the other sentence is because somebody may get a satisfactory evaluation and then get caught stealing the next day.
Yeah.
And then the council still needs to be able to have an opportunity to remove
To
them.
remove them.
If you take that out and say it's only upon an unsatisfactory review, then that's the only opportunity they have to remove them.
You understand what I'm saying?
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm just
Just
trying to
no,
clarify.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Want me to read it
You
again?
have to withdraw your motion.
I withdrew.
Okay, so now we
They
need
can be
a new
appointed every
motion
3
here.
years.
Okay. I put a motion on the floor for 3.111, appointment of clerk, shall read, the council shall appoint a city clerk for an indefinite period. The city clerk shall have a yearly evaluation, and upon a satisfactory evaluation, the city clerk shall continue its appointment. The clerk is removable by vote of 5 members of the council or by council president and 3 members of the council, period.
There's a move, is there a second?
Support.
Second.
So moved by Garrett, supported by Ibarra. I just wanted to add, there are several ways that the clerk can be removed now, right? So it could be by an unsatisfactory evaluation, it could be by a vote of 5, or by a vote of 4.
So did we say or?
Yes, or.
Okay.
All right, roll call.
Ibarra,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
No.
Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Williams.
Yes.
So that's 5 yeas, no nays.
One
One
yea.
nay.
One nay, yeah.
I still don't like that indefinite.
All right, 3.112. Three point one one two. Last time, 3.112. Okay, 3.113. Williams, can you also read Stewart?
That's what I was reading, the
Okay.
stewards. So it says it may need to be modified. Some of this language is unsure, so.
I also have, this 3.113. Okay, nope, that was, okay, nope, okay. The city shall not sell, lease, exchange, or in any way dispose of any real property of the city or any property, Did I read that wrong?
Where, are you on 3112?
3113.
3.
3113. The city may not sell, lease, exchange, or in any way dispose of any real property of the city, okay, or any property of the city, except such,
Personality.
what is that?
That's-
Personality.
That's the real language, yep.
Okay, as may have been defined by ordinance as a minor, without approval or public notice and hearing by resolution of the council. Nor may the city enter into a contract if there is not a significant unencumbered appropriation available to discharge fully the city's obligation thereunder without approval by the council. I don't know what the hell I said.
So this is the only section of the charter that has been helpful for the city council in my 12 years of service, because it basically says that the city or its subsidiaries or like the growth group or anything else could sell any property without city council approval. That's what that means. So anything that got sold that wasn't sold by the emergency manager, I know that I think the only thing that may need to be added to this is now that we're in 2023 is probably something that speaks to intellectual property and not just real property. So real property is the physical building and that stuff. The personality of the city is any of the names, the trademarks or whatever. So city council, city of Pontiac, mayor's office, whatever. Any of that, anything that was bought under that is the personality. So I know that's some legalese, but I think this is probably the most well-written piece that they had in the 1982 charter.
I still don't understand. But I put okay right here, so it must be okay. It's a lot of lawyer talk.
Yeah, but it's been very
Being
helpful.
very helpful.
Yeah,
Thank God.
I have okay by it. I don't know. I'm not sure what Stewart meant when he said may need to modify some of this language. Maybe he was confused by it too, but it's lawyer talk. So we can just agree to that. Does anybody have any issues with 113? Payne?
Well, I think what Stuart, well, I can't speak for him, but maybe the reason you're not understanding is because it is a little choppy. And it seems like it could be spelled out with less words and not repeating itself and causing the confusion where you're not able to understand it.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I just want to say this really quickly. This is the only part of the charter when we went to court that was actually defendable.
But here-
So
here-
what I'm saying to you, Ms. Payne, is I hear that we want to make the charter as readable for the general public as possible. What I'm saying to you is the only reason that we're still having this meeting in City Hall right now is because this language existed in the way that it exists in the charter. That's what I'm saying to you. The emergency manager wanted to sell City Hall. He was not allowed to sell City Hall without approval of the city council because of this language that was here, even though state law superseded and did all kinds of other stuff. What I'm saying to you, just hear me out really clearly.
Go. Well,
We-
I
we've
was
been to-
talking, but go ahead.
Never mind, I'm
No,
done.
no,
Ms.
go
Payne.
ahead.
No, I'm done.
No.
Go ahead, Commissioner Payne.
Well, all I was saying is that basically is that it's choppy, and I can understand where Stuart is saying that, because we're not talking about taking out the content of it so that what happened during the past won't happen again. We leave that part in there, but it's just something that needs to make it flow better. I don't know, I just think that. What did I put down anyway?
Can we come back to you,
I don't
Payne?
know.
Garrett?
Maybe we just take out Norm A.
So after 25 years in law enforcement, and you're forced to be a lawyer in certain cases of being the officer in charge, this language truly protects us, where you're able to defend in the judicial system that uses ambiguity as a response to briefs, to leave it undefinable, but yet use case law. And so we were very successful in doing that in Lansing against the EM because of how this is actually written word by word, comma by comma. Changing it changes the definition in which you can defend it. And so knowing that the experience of not having always something spoken in such a clear language and enunciated, and punctuation means just as much as the interpretation of the written language. So I would like to leave this as is, because again, to counsel, I can't, he's gonna always be council president, I'm sorry. To Commissioner Williams' point, when it gets out of our hands and it has to go, that's how I look at these documents. If it ever leaves our hands and go into the court, you never want somebody who's trying to do something against you to have a simple straight arrow to get you. In this format, I clearly would not change anything, not a period, not a comma, in this part of this document, for that very reason. I just wanted to put that documented out there, so.
Thank you. And I would just like to add, it is choppy, but once Commissioner Williams said what he said, and then Commissioner Garrett, I do not speak lawyer, so I can understand why I don't understand that, but I'm also understand the importance of speaking lawyer talk, and I am okay with keeping it as it is.
The last time,
Mike, please.
This was brought to court upon defending when?
So there were several occasions, including the lawsuits that we lost with the Phoenix Center several times. And so even though the EM's lawsuits continued through our current mayor, she took certain steps to liquidate those properties. And so because this clause stood up and she was using, well, let me just say it this way, previous administrations were using the city attorneys or the firm that represented the city attorneys against council to defend the stance of city assets in order to do that. So from Duck Pond to everywhere else that was sold, approval. So if you remember when, for a good example, they were trying to sell all of the lots in the city, right? They did not do that without council. So each time those lots came up, the council would get a sheet that actually said that, because the fact that no property can be sold without city council. And so it's and other things were under different entities, those still go back all the way back to city council. Bigger thing, the city had the McLaren parking lot, right? The city was getting a lease from McLaren that they thought was outrageous, and they're a good partner to the city. So the argument was that we should just sell them the lot for the dollar, right? One of the administrations just tried to do that without council approval. And it had to come back to us after they marched all the way to court because of this particular stance. So that's just one example. So now the McLaren thing has went through, but it had to come in front of the body, which makes it come before the people. So without this clause, they could basically sell land without it being public because the mayor has the ability to sign contracts. So this language that's in there has been used in my 12 years on several occasions that I know about. And it's really been the only thing that I can say has been tried and true that hasn't been able to be maneuvered around.
Thank you.
So is there a motion to change 3.113? We will move to 3.114. I have that this should be removed because we no longer have a city hospital, but I could be wrong. Oh, it's already there. Okay. Okay. 3.115. Williams.
Yes, I would like to amend this piece under staff to say the council may within appropriations provided in the budget appoint staff or contract services, staff or person engaged pursuant to the contract serve at the pleasure of the council without interference from the mayor, appointees of the mayor, or staff of the executive branch.
The council may within the appropriations in the budget.
Okay, can you say that one more time slowly?
So the mayor,
Oh, wait, start over, please. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be difficult.
okay. So the language should read as it is on the paperwork until it says without interference from the mayor, appointees of the mayor, or staff of the executive branch.
So, okay, so you started at council period,
Right, at the pleasure of the council,
at the pleasure of the
Period.
council period.
without. New sentence, without.
Oh, not comma with the, okay, just period.
Yeah. So, and the reason I put that in there is because,
Well, I know why.
there are several reasons, but everybody wasn't following
Hold on
along.
one second.
Okay, so can you read it in full again, just without?
The last sentence, I think, is what she needs.
Okay, without interference from the mayor, appointees of the mayor, or staff of the executive branch, period. I wrote that one early this morning.
I'll write it down after my review. Support.
So it's been moved by Williams and supported by Garrett. Any discussion?
I guess this Commissioner Williams, would this guarantee an opportunity for the council to gain additional staffing through the compensation commission, if you will?
So they don't have to go through the compensation commission. So right now, if the budget allows for staff, they can have staff. What happened in the previous administration was the staff that the city council hired were not paid. So, for example, we hired a parliamentarian, right? The parliamentarian came to the first meeting, everything was great. She came to the second meeting and disagreed with previous administration on what they could do or not do at a meeting in regards to Robert's Rules of Order. They took 3.5 years to pay the parliamentarian. And so what I'm saying is the interference part needs to be wiped out. If the money is in the budget to hire an additional clerk or whatever, the city council should be able to do that without being encumbered by the other branch of government. And it just creates an unfair balance of power because even though the council, through the way this charter is set up, has the control of the budget, they don't have control of the city treasury. So if the treasurer is not actually paying the bills of the council, then people don't work for them. So we retained Clark Hill as an attorney for the city council. It took them 1.5 years to be paid. So I'm glad that Clark Hill has worked with the new administration that was here because they didn't get paid what they were due, and we couldn't do additional lawsuits because they were not willing to just pro bono free work for the city council.
Thank you. Commissioner Payne?
Well, I'm a little bit concerned with this in regards to the last portion of it, because at one time, there was a lot of hiring by both administration and council. And for me, I felt like there was some kind of little something that was going on, but I, as a taxpayer, felt that my money was not being appropriated properly. And I guess that's why when we were talking about a special board to oversee those kinds of things, bring it to the board. It's not saying that the board makes the decision, but it's something that you take to someone to resolve something, but you as a council or you as the mayor, whatever the problem is, actually ends up with the last decision, the last say-so.
Okay, well, 2 things, Ms. Payne. First, the clause that says within appropriations, meaning these positions have to be budgeted for anyway. And if you've got government that are just hiring people that are outside of the budget, then we need to be electing new people. So that's something that a board or whatever is not
Still
just going to.
tax money.
Well, you're not hearing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the recourse for that is to either vote those people out or to recall them if they're wasting municipal dollars. That's what I'm saying, just in general. But the reason that clause is important for me to add that language is in section 3.116, where it reads, and I'm going to read it out loud, the council and each of its members may make inquiries or request information and records from the mayor, the appointees or employees of the executive branch. However, neither the council nor any members of thereof shall give any order or direction, neither publicly or privately, to any appointee or employee of the executive branch. Just trying to make it fair. Well, the mayor, the way the strong mayor form of government works is that if the council has an issue with employees from administration, they need to bring those issues to the mayor. The council under the current charter doesn't have that ability because if the purchasing agent or the treasurer just doesn't, or HR even, doesn't put those people in position, they don't have those employees. And so we need to have something in the charter that speaks to their ability to do that. Because if you don't, then we run into what we ran into in the past.
Garrett,
I can agree to a certain, to the point of, well, I tell you what, you're right. We're on 3.115.
yes.
Let's stick to 3.115. I agree with everything you said that. I'll wait too when we talk about 3.116. So I'll wait. My comments for 3.116.
Thank you.
So I digress. Thank you.
Payne,
Oh, I was,
okay.
thank you.
So there's a motion on the floor. Was there support?
Yeah, I supported it.
Okay. So it's been moved by Williams, supported by Garrett. Roll call.
Garrett,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Abstain.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Ibarra.
Yes.
That's 5 yeas, 1 abstain.
Garrett.
I digress.
All right. All right. 3116.
So, to
Garrett.
the point that was brought up last, I'm never going to. So council makes directives to, council members make directives and direction at council meetings to members of the administration. The administration says, I'll get back to you on that. Nobody objects to what happens, neither the council chair, nor the mayor, nor the deputy mayor. And it's clear that that should not happen publicly or privately. But it does. And because it does, I don't know, is that something we just leave in or we leave it as this and allow it to happen as a culture thing? Because clearly, at times, depending on the topic, you have at-large members versus council versus district council representation. And I see it often, and I don't know, again, is that something that the charter can help with? But it speaks, because the charter speaks very clearly, but when both administration and council ignore this statute, as a citizen, I'm like, is this just the way that business is usual, or they learn how to do business, or where does that come in at?
So I
Like,
just,
I don't know. Right, I don't know.
I need some specifics. Can you give me an example?
Example. DPW is at the podium. Miami needs potholes refilled. When the patching truck comes out this winter, can we start on Miami first? Podium. We can look into that. I've called several times. I think we should have first priority. You're negotiating, you're going back and forth, you're giving directives, and then administration, if they chime in and say, hey, they don't even defend their employee. They don't say, they're supposed to say at that time, that's not something that we have an order, and we'll put the order as it relates to, we'll put the order of priority as it relates to the most need or pressing need. And if that falls at Miami being number one, then so be it. But if not, then we also have to accept that too. So it kind of cuts that, but it doesn't. You go into this back and forth. And it happens, and I'm just using that as an example. There was the marijuana issue of rec versus medical. And it was very, it's just, and again, it was very clear on you can see the lobbying and negotiating here at the dais. So I was like, when this came up and I read it in the charter, and I'm like, is it just a learned behavior, or do we not do it? Do we not object to allowing a person to advocate for a particular issue because it may have some political ramifications on you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that is, but that's the part that causes the most confusion to me as a constituent when I'm watching, and when I even myself as an elected official have a concern, I don't feel comfortable with bringing it, to be honest. I just handle it myself.
Thank you. Williams?
Yeah, I think the problem with all of that is it doesn't spell out, and we have to, I guess, talk about this in a different chapter, but it doesn't spell out mayoral and council relations. Like it says that the mayor sits and presides at these meetings in order to answer questions for citizens. Saying I don't know is not necessarily an answer. It's not a report. It's not anything, right? And so it leads toward council people addressing an issue when they have the ability to talk to staff, because it may not got addressed or anything. There's no report. There's nothing in the charter that even speaks to updates or performance on any given thing, period. So there's no matrix of any success or, I'll give you a prime example, sidewalks. You know how many sidewalks have been paved? We've been donating $200,000 for the last 20 years in sidewalks. I couldn't tell you where those sidewalks were implemented. No administration has actually made
That's
a
what
plan.
right.
So what I'm saying to you, and so when you have sidewalks on Marshall Street that are not fixed, and you've been asking the administration for 6 months and subcommittee about what the sidewalk plan is, and they don't give it, that's going to lead to somebody at a council meeting directing it to DPW, because that is the time in which they're coming, because they're going to be asking for something budgetary. And that's the only time that the council is going to have any influence on getting that issue addressed. The charter speaks to that's not the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
They speak to the better angels and the good of council relations. In general, city council shouldn't be worried about any potholes. That is not their job.
That's what I'm getting at.
No,
Right.
hold on.
Go ahead.
But if potholes are not addressed, and there is no plan or reporting or clear system in place in any way, when constituents come to representative bodies, they're going to come with that issue. And so if a council person sits there week after week, knowing that there are huge craters on a certain street, and they don't address it in the public forum, people are not trying to hear section 3.116 when you go down their street. They're going to say, Councilman, this pothole is not fixed. We've called the mayor's office. We got no answer. The council person is going to say, I sent an email to the mayor. The mayor didn't do anything. So the constituent is then going to call DPW and say, I just talked to my council person and the mayor didn't do anything. Because of strong mayor form of government, which as a body we've agreed to continue with, it doesn't have any place where the council has any authority over the mayor in order to create any action. So that lack of ability, whereas with the city manager you have that, or with the superintendent you have that, creates that tension that probably needs to be spelled out in the charter on how issues and grievances are addressed when people are not responsive. Because technically, as long as the mayor is sitting at a meeting and nodding his head or her head, then they're fulfilling what's in the 1982 charter, even if they don't do anything.
This is a discussion.
With that being said, this is the place where you put teeth in the charter and saying that council is not allowed without first speaking with the mayor to talk to administration, the appointees, employees of the executive branch. However, however, in some wording where the mayor shall report out or this shall come out on a weekly or the bi-weekly basis, so that council does not do that. That's my question.
Well, he looking at you, asking you a
I'm
question.
looking at you, Madam Chair. I don't know where it fits. I think we need to actually think about it and sit down and come up with a best practices for it to work. I think the problem that we have is that strong mayor form of government automatically assumes that whoever the chief executive of the city is doing all of the things that have citizen concerns. And where that is lacking, and where my biggest issue with it is not personality, it's just that there is no function back from the representative portion of government. And so strong mayor form of government sets up a situation just like Congress. And so we have a faction in Congress right now that, because they're not getting their way as they believe, want to shut down the whole government because they feel like they have no redress. And so a lot of times our council meetings reflect that same type of sentiment on issues. And so I guess, to be quick about it, I think we should really figure out in this charter how we want the mayor and council to address citizen issues. And I think this is the place where we talk about that and how we deploy staff in order to do that. We can't have somebody having 15 bosses. That's inappropriate. The mayor should be the person that directs the staff day to day in the city, right? But how does that look when that's not focused? Or is that where the ombudsman comes in to handle those disputes if a council person has emailed the mayor 7 times about an issue over 7 weeks and nothing was addressed? Because I just don't know, because they haven't built anything in this charter about responsiveness.
Agree, and I think that an ombudsman, I mean, just because that's the the last of what was stated, is something where, in our case, even if we put it in a charter, I mean, is needed because somebody just wants an answer. Whether it's the answer you don't want or you do, somebody wants to answer. The lack of not answering is the problem, but then also the lack of giving power to individuals who work in the city is an issue too. Because a council person would go to a person who works in the city, and then the person would do whatever that person says do, and that is not even looked upon as like something out of the routine. Because if you don't pave Miami, but yet you go over there and Pioneer Estates and do theirs, or even off Telegraph, Stonegate, well, and you only do mine because I live there, that's some issues that causes that too. And the mayor has no,
Or the other way around, Mr. Garrett, where you don't have a whole district taken care of because the council person has had conflict
Correct.
with the executive.
correct.
And so now they've ordered city staff
Not
not
to
to
be-
do
correct.
anything.
Correct.
And you have to pay local contractors to cut grass and
Correct.
do weeding on Martin Luther King, Auburn, and other places. That is what
Yes,
happens. And so that is what my major argument is
Okay.
with
the strong form.
the
Okay.
strong mayor
Okay,
form
I
of
can- that's re-
government
I can
is
respect that.
because
I can-
it makes city services politicized. And that is
But-
the inherent, but we're past that now. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, is there some steps that we can put in or
There
some
is.
checkpoints?
I think it
To
is.
make it better, is
I
what I'm
think it
saying.
is.
Can I just, can we put
we
can we
table it?
stop here? Yes. Can we stop here because we have a couple of other things on the agenda to address and it's 8:54. So we are going to stop at 3116.
Okay.
But we'll start back here, and like 3103, like we need to come with our written, how we want to see this change so that we can, discuss it in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. What is 2 weeks?
What is 2 weeks? The next meeting will be, like, let's put that out there. October 12th, I will be out of town. I will have my stuff written. I will be out of town. I will be out of town. It's my daughter's birthday. I will write my stuff out.
Okay. October 12th.
October 12th, put that on your calendars.
October 12th and October 26th this month, right?
Yep, I'll be here on the
And I won't be here
26th.
on the 26th. That's the day after my birthday, so
Okay.
I will not be in attendance.
I
Spending
would-
it with 3 hours of this.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda was a discussion on the training dates. Do we still need the training?
We still talking about,
Yes.
can I ask a question?
It was scheduled, the days that we presented were not good. They came back with October 21st. Garrett?
Okay. Why are we still talking about training specifically after what we just went through?
Well, I think,
Like-
I think that's what Kermit's point was moving it up above the training. Was that what the point was? We don't,
I mean, you don't need training for something that you're doing the work though. Like you're doing it. So why are we bothering these people? I'm just saying, I'm not coming. I'm just gonna put that out there.
okay.
All right.
So, do we still want to do the training after this? Yes or no?
So
Williams?
I think I want to amend what the training is and talk to Sugar Law about it, because what I would like to have done is after we finish going through the 2013 with our recommendations, having them look at it and go through some points that they think are in conflict with either state law or whatever, so we got a better shot at getting it passed before December.
Beautiful.
So that's not a training, that's getting them to be general counsel for us.
No. What I'm saying is, I think we need to, so I don't want to call it general counsel, because then we got to pay general counsel fees. So what I'm saying to
You
you.
trying to word it in such a way.
So what I'm saying is, I
Is
just
a
want
very
them to
approved-
give us an overview of it and then talk about what pieces could potentially be problematic, so then we can rework those before we take it to the general public. So because Ms. Phillips actually passed the charter, she can give us some expertise on what was helpful in her passing of the Detroit Charter, and if she saw some flags, because I'm pretty sure that they might have brought up a lot of the things that we're probably asking for or not, and she can kind of workshop it with us. So I'm not talking about being legal counsel, going through line by line and saying that this is legal, this is not legal. I'm just saying, if you look at section 3.1, are we in the right direction with the city council or not? Is that overstepping the strongman form of government or whatever? Is it gonna get approved by the state? That's what I would like to see in a training, so we can kind of have some questions. So when we actually take the document, upload it to the website for the citizens to look at, and then give us their critique on it, we're kind of like in a good standing, was where I would like to put the training versus what we initially had, what is a charter and all that other stuff.
Okay, so we would like to amend the discussion on training dates to have a discussion on the purpose and objective of the training, and Commissioner Williams, along with the clerk, will reach out to Sugar Law to make that change and see if they're okay with it. Okay. So just for the record, we okay with not having the training that we were talking about originally. Everybody good with that?
I'm good
Yes.
with it, and for the record, that's something that I can yield to.
Okay. So,
Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead, Pam.
Madam Chair. I think training is important, but training is more important at the beginning of your session. If you're in the middle of a session, to me, it just kind of fluctuates, and that's what I said at the last meeting, is that I did want training at the first part of the meeting, but now that we're so far into this, I would have preferred that the attorneys take a look at the documents that we come up with and advise us on that.
Thank you. All right.
So again, I just want to reiterate, because this meeting is televised and Facebook, I'm asking Sugar Law to give us a training based on the charter that we are co-creating in this moment.
Thank you.
Support.
Do we, no?
No, you don't need.
All right. The next one was discussion on forms of government, which we went over with reviewing the 2013 charter. And we are at closing comments. We gonna have space for this, sir. Garrett?
I just want to say, again, great working session. Thank you so much. Thank God that these meetings are televised. A lot of times, when I wasn't here, I was able to go recap, go back to live, watch what I needed to watch, and kind of get into the flow of the meeting. It's a much needed work, but I think just after the day, we have a lot of things that we've accomplished, and we tackled some of the talking points that I know some community members have had in the past, specifically when other charters have been presented. I don't feel like we have something that's hard enough for people to understand or even get behind. So thank you a lot. Thank you so much for this team for doing the work. And my hope is that more citizens start to kick in and have some dialogue and information, even if it's just putting something on the Facebook page, like watching it live and putting comments, just having input, period. But that's what you elected us to do, and I'm just grateful that this body is doing the work that it was called to do. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Payne. Thank you, Killian.
Excuse me. First and foremost, praise to Allah and honors to everyone here and everyone that's listening. Also honor to Miss Evelyn LaDuff and my family for enduring such a, allowing me to do this position. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And with that, I say good night.
Thank you. Ibarra?
Thank you, Chair. I guess just first and foremost, I would like to apologize to my tardiness. I guess as the season in life goes, I just would like to let the board know I will probably continue being late to these meetings just due to my new established work life. But that my tardiness will not reflect the work, the blood, sweat, and tears I will put into this charter to ensure that we have something that'll pass that can reflect on the present and future generations of the city.
Thank you. Williams?
No comment.
Thank you. I will just ask that we look at our calendars. I appreciate, first I wanted to say thank you to Vice Chair Williams for getting us moving on this. I appreciate it. First of all, thank you very much for that. Thank you to James McQueen for sitting in the audience and enduring,
Thank you, sir.
enduring this and helping with the sketchy people out there. Thank you. I would just ask that as we've gotten through some, but I think we're gonna need a Saturday session to get through some of these, and I would rather do it earlier than later where we're trying to play catch up and rushing through. So if for the next meeting, if people can bring their calendars and have some Saturdays that they are available, just have them listed out already. So then we can have that discussion. It'll be on the agenda, like Saturday discussion, Saturday session, so that we can get this and not feel rushed. Because I believe what Commissioner Williams said, like we can work with Sugar Law and then flush out some things if we messed up something or we didn't do it right. But let's just do that ahead of time so that we can get through this. Thank you all for your continued support and motivation in moving this forward. And I would like to adjourn the meeting at 9. Is it 9? Mm-hmm. 9. Why we like this?
You know what,
Why we
ma'am?
like 9:05?
Ma'am, you know what, ma'am?
Go home.
Hold on, ma'am. You know what?
I'm sorry. I've been here since 7 this morning. I'm sorry.
Ma'am, like we your favorite.
I wasn't gonna say nothing if you wasn't.